This is the post-match analysis on my YouTube channel to this League Cup match. It was a very good match of both teams, Arsenal and Crystal Palace. Arsenal was the better team. They were dominating. They were very strong in terms of like the set pieces. They were good off the corners and long throw-ins, as we know that Arsenal has very strong set pieces, and also they were dominating in the game. And we have to talk about this guy on the left wing who was playing phenomenal game. It was Gabriel Martinelli, who was just like very furious. He was playing out his very good pace. He had all the dribblings, all the 1-against-1 situations. The right back of Crystal Palace was overwhelmed. He was losing all the duels against Martinelli, and Martinelli made a fantastic game in like getting through, getting to the line, getting all the crosses in, and dribble good, and playing out his pace against Ken Vogt, the right back of Crystal Palace, who was just like having no chance in this first half against Martinelli. And this was the reason why Oliver Glasner then subbed him out. There was a substitution where Nathaniel Klein then came in, and Crystal Palace was getting better then also in the defense work and in handling Martinelli. Also, Martinelli was like a little bit injured from the end of the first half, because in one duel Kenwood really pushed him and fouled him in a tough way, and I think he is a bit injured. And then also Mikel Arteta decided to pull him out, just to protect him and bring Leandro Trossard in the game. But it was like Martinelli was very good. Gabriel Jesus was playing a good game, and they were the two best players for me. For Arsenal, Saliba played a very good match too. He was saving at one time very good with like a great slide in the last second against Jean-Philippe Mateta, the striker of Crystal Palace. Also, I have to say this like formation we see here, this first 11 is like a bit the B first 11 of Arsenal. In the midfield, Declan Rice, Martin Ødegaard and Martin Zubimendi all were on the bench. Christian Nørgaard as a holding six was playing all right. He was very strong in the headers. He was good at heading all the balls away. When you had like these long balls from Benitez, from the goalkeeper from Crystal Palace, he was very good in the duels in the air and winning all those. But you could see that players like Rice, players like Ødegaard, or also Zubimendi, especially Zubimendi and Ødegaard, when it comes to playing with the ball technique, good passes, they were missing a bit, because Mikel Merino is more like type of guy who is fighting and running a lot, always having a good mentality on the pitch. But there was not every pass right and perfect from him again, when he was like playing together with Noni Madueke on the right wing. So you could see also this like little bit weaknesses in the play with the ball from Merino, sometimes from Nørgaard too, and Eze was playing a solid game, but it was not the perfect game. It was like okay, but it was not like the player who was be this type of guy in midfield like maybe Martin Ødegaard is, with all the clever passes, with all the good knowledge of the spaces, when to play the ball in what space. And this is like a bit what was missing for me from Arsenal, but they were compensating that so well with Gabriel Martinelli on the left wing, making so many good moves and creating so many dangerous attacks and chances for Arsenal, with his pace, with his dribblings, and also good crosses on Madueke or Gabriel Jesus. Gabriel Jesus had like 2 or 3 big chances. Madueke had 1 or 2 chances just in the first half. Both of them had like 2 good chances, and it was like a mixture of a good goalkeeper with Benitez in the goal of Crystal Palace, very good goalkeeper with great saves and like saving his team time and again, and also like the lack of efficiency in Arsenal's game, especially when it comes to the strikers, to Gabriel Jesus and Madueke. But also you have to say that Gabriel Jesus had a great header, had one or two good shots. Madueke had one or two good shots too. But Crystal Palace was standing very good in the own box. They were blocking a lot of shots too, because they had like many players in the box and standing at a good space to block all these shots from the strikers of Arsenal. But also there was a good goalkeeper with Benitez, as I said, who was saving them many times. And so this is like the story of the first half, dominating Arsenal squad, coming a lot or almost every time over the left wing, over the strengths of Martinelli, coming to a lot of chances, creating a lot of great chances, being very dominant, also having more possession, more of the game, more playing with the ball, but lack of efficiency in a mixture with good goalkeeper and good blocks also, and good positioning from the defenders from Crystal Palace, and also a team like with Crystal Palace which was always a bit dangerous after the counter-attacks. They were there when it comes to winning the ball and then having a good transition into the offense, and then coming into the last third and just creating some chances after good counter-attacks. They had like these one or two chances. There was one where the left winger or left back in this like 5-4-1, or you could say 5-2-2-1, which Crystal Palace is playing, Mitchell, the left winger, was getting there and he was not crossing the ball to, I think it was Mateta or it was Nketiah, who was completely free in space, and Arsenal was not very well defending. The rest defense was not good. There were not enough players in the defense, and there were like one or two very good counterattacks from Crystal Palace. If they would have played it out a bit more clever in the last third, then there would be chances for Crystal Palace also to make the opening goal, but this would be too much, I would say, because Arsenal was, as I said, dominating, the better team and playing a good first half, especially, as I said, Gabriel Martinelli. And when we come to the second half, there was like a very good 15 minutes of Crystal Palace till the 60th minute, I would say. Till the 60-minute mark, and they were playing very good football in terms of like being aggressive, being very just there on the pitch with high intensity, with putting pressure on Arsenal, with high press, with good positioning against the ball, and they were showing what makes them so strong under Oliver Glasner, which made them also win the FA Cup and the Super Cup in this year, winning 2 titles as like more smaller club, when you ask me, and also making them a good squad in the Premier League, standing I think on the 7th, 8th, 9th position there in the upper midfield of the table. So like there was good pressing, good positioning, as I said, good work against the ball, and also like high ball wins, and then also good counters or transitions in the direction of the box. There were some minor chances, but not this big one where you would say, okay, this has to be the opening goal, this has to be the 1-0 for Crystal Palace. But they had like a good 15 minutes showing what they can do, and you could see that Arsenal was under pressure and that Crystal Palace was doing good, and Oliver Glasner was pushing them forward on the sideline, and you could see he was very confident and very happy with what his squad was showing in these opening 15 minutes of the second half. But then I would say also with the first substitutes and the 59th minute, there was Leandro Trossard coming in for Gabriel Martinelli, like for the left wing, And then after that, also Bukayo Saka came a few minutes later into the game, and Mikel Arteta also brought Martin Ødegaard on a pitch for Eberechi Eze. And as I said, Bukayo Saka was coming in on the right wing for Noni Madueke. And also then we had like a fourth substitute, and I want to look up again for the fourth substitute. Yeah, this was like in the 86th minute, late in the game, Declan Rice coming in for Gabriel Jesus, and then Declan Rice was like pushing back on the 8th position, was just like playing his midfield part as we know that he plays it, and then Mikel Merino was switching on the 9th position, going up as a striker, as we know that Mikel Merino also can play this position and played it many times for Arsenal, especially last season when they were like missing Kai Havertz as 9 as a striker, who is also like for me as a German known to be more like an 8 or especially a 10, and playing phenomenal at Bayer Leverkusen in this position. And I think this is where his strengths are best positioned. But yeah, as we know, he was like striker now and playing number 9 for Arsenal for 1 or 2 years, and always having like his 10, 12 to 15 goals per season, or 10 to 12 I would say, which is pretty good. And they were missing him, as I said, and Gyökeres was not yet there. He was playing for Sporting Lisbon, and so Mikel Merino was often playing this position, and he was going up on the 9 for the last 15 minutes, you have to say, because it was 9 minutes of added time. Then they were playing 11 or 12 because also the equalizer was falling in this added time. And yeah, you had like going back now to 16th minute, to the first substitutions of Arsenal gaining back the control, gaining back the dominance they had, I would say. Bukayo Saka with 1 or 2 good moves and good situations. Also Arsenal creating more chances than during Timber had 1 chance I can remember, and Leandro Trossard was like very good in one situation where he like initiated a counter attack, the transition, and then with a lot of speed, a lot of pace, initiating this, and then also playing the last ball. Saliba was also playing a good ball. Then there was wide space for the counter attack for Arsenal. There was a lot of space in midfield, and then at the end it was Trossard playing to, I think, Jurrien Timber, who was like always overloading the offensive center of Arsenal, you could say, and going on the 9 position to support first Gabriel Jesus and later on then Mikel Merino, which was like this one interesting tactical thing you could see again, which Arteta wanted to see, that like Arsenal was, when they have the ball, having 3 players back there with Saliba, Calafiori and Luis Skelly, and then like Jurrien Timber pushing up into the striker position to support a bit Gabriel Jesus, as I said, and later on Mikel Merino when he was playing at the 9, and also Madueke on the right wing, and Martinelli on the left wing, to just like have one more player in the last line to support the strikers, to have like a 4th or even 5th player when maybe Eze or Merino are pushing up from the 8th position in the last line, to have more players who can attack the space behind the last line of Crystal Palace even. And it was Jurrien Timber who was playing that really good in terms of going behind these lines, also playing out his pace, his acceleration skills that he has, and also like this good timing to attack these runs behind the lines. And then they were having the space, especially on this counter attack I was talking about, and Trossard is like bringing the ball on the left, and then it was like the ball were coming to Timber at the end, was a big chance, and Benitez was saving again. It was like a little mistake from Mark Gay, the defender from Crystal Palace, but this was a big chance. But back to the chronological thing, when we go through the match, then there was the 1-0 for sure. We can talk about that, and I want to talk about that. It's like a corner from the right side coming in, and as I said, the set pieces of Arsenal are excellent. As you know, I think that you will know, the set pieces are phenomenal from Arsenal. The corners, the long throw-ins are also dangerous. The free kicks are good, and they have like the coaches, the analysts who work a lot on that. You have Mikel Arteta developing a lot of stuff which maybe Pep Guardiola was missing out, especially in the last 5 or 10 years. And I think when he worked under Guardiola in City, he saw that like things like set pieces were not very that there was not much work on set pieces in the daily training ground in Manchester, at Manchester City Football Club, and he was like developing a lot of strength in these set pieces, as well as, you have to say, which is different from him to Guardiola, is like the number of crosses that came in. I saw this game now in this League Cup quarterfinal, and you could see that in the first half and also in the second half, the main thing, or the main way that Arsenal wanted to create chances and to come to goal success was first through set pieces, through corners, free kicks and long throw-ins, and second through crosses, through space, through pacemakers on the wings with Madueke and Martinelli, going through the line, or just having these inverting runs where they are like coming from the wing and going invert then, and also cross the balls in. And there were a lot of crosses going to Gabriel Jesus. There were some good chances with the head for Gabriel Jesus and for other players, and like this is the way where I say Mikel Arteta is doing such a good work in Arsenal, in developing, surely with his team, with coaches who are responsible especially just for the set pieces and analysis behind that, but also like he is responsible for the stuff, so it's also like his work too, and the work of his staff naturally. He's doing great work in developing the set pieces again and again, and being so dangerous, and the opponents know that they are dangerous, that they're very good in terms of set pieces and how they handle it, but it's very hard to defend for them, and Arsenal is again and again succeeding with this way of creating chances and scoring goals for set pieces, which is very great, and also like this dangerous thing with crosses, and not just playing the pass like it's typical under Guardiola. I think he developed a lot of good stuff here at Arsenal. And back to this 1-0, it's like a very good corner. It's like, as we saw in many corners in this game, again, 5 or 6 players going into the very near space through the goalkeeper. The corners are coming directly in the direction of the goal, and in these spaces it's becoming very dangerous, hard to defend for Crystal Palace, and Arsenal had a lot of chances also after these corners, and then they scored a goal with a bit of luck. Maxence Lacroix, the central defender from Crystal Palace, former player of VfL Wolfsburg, I know him as a German football fan, is like unlucky with that and getting the ball on his right foot, I think, and Saliba is standing behind him, putting maybe a bit of pressure on him, but it's more like luck for Arsenal, unlucky for Maxence Lacroix and Crystal Palace, and then it's 1-0, and then Crystal Palace, as I said, is coming back with a 1-1, which is, when we analyze the game, also lucky. You have to say Arsenal was dominating, had more chances, had more of the game, especially through, as I said, set pieces and the dangerous and very good playing wingers, especially Gabriel Martinelli, but also then with players coming on like Ødegaard, who had one very great cross in, where he assisted for Gabriel Jesus, who had a great header. And then we had like also Saka on, who was creating some stuff. Trossard was playing very good. Then also as a left winger, as I said, Jurien Timber had a big chance. So it was like very well deserved also that Arsenal was going in the lead, and they would have deserved to win this game in the regular time. 1-0, even 2-0 would be very well deserved and okay from an analytic perspective, and I'm pretty sure that expected goals or other statistics would give me this point and give me credit for this opinion and this analysis. But football is football as we know it. Everything can happen, especially in a 9 minute at a time. And I want to say this 9 minute at a time was because of a longer injury interruption, because Chris Richards, also former German player or playing in the German Bundesliga for FC Bayern, Chris Richards was like injured. I wish the best to him, that he will recover quickly, and just all the best to Chris Richards on this point. But this was like 4 or 5 minutes where the ball was resting, where there was no play for both teams, 4 or 5 minutes of interruption. So like, this is normal that you then have quickly 9 minutes of added time, because there were a lot of set pieces, there was a goal, there were substitutions, and this long injury interruption. So this is okay. And I think in the 5th minute of this added time, it's Mark Gay who is making this rather big mistake in the defense some minutes before, as I said, when he was losing the ball against Jurien Timber after this great counter-attack from Arsenal initiated, and very well played out, especially from Leandro Trossard. And also Saliba, I want to mention him because sometimes he's playing this not so, how do you say it, this like passes that are very, very good, very clever, creating space for Arsenal. And sometimes you think, is nothing happen, it's just a pass, but it's very clever how he plays these progressive passes also into the midfield and into the half of the opposite team, and also like overplaying some of the first line players of Crystal Palace, some of the attackers from the strikers. Saliba, for me, is a very great player. He's one of the best central defenders in the world. I think when you're a top player of a top club like Arsenal, which is maybe the best team in Europe, for me it is, I think, at the moment. And for sure, then you are more or less very, very good international class or even world class, and are one of the best central defenders in the world, in Europe. Currently, I say. But Saliba, he had like 1 or 2 great duels, as I said, this slide where he was clearing the ball, clearing to a corner kick against Jean-Philippe Mateta. In advance it was like Jeremy Pino. Great transfer, I have to say, that Crystal Palace was doing. He was scoring a lot of goals last season at Villarreal, and Villarreal was like playing good at the La Liga and is currently now a very good team. We're playing Champions League, and they managed to get this player, Jeremy, who was, I'm sure, very happy to join Crystal Palace and to be able to play in the Premier League. And he was playing the pass, but Mateta get the ball, but Saliba was clearing. And as I said, Saliba is the player who's standing behind Lacroix, well positioned. Maybe it makes something with a defender with Lacroix when other very strong and tall central defender like Saliba is standing behind you, putting maybe a bit of pressure on him. And just the presence of him maybe influenced a bit this situation, this own goal of Maxence Lacroix. Even, as I said, it was more unlucky for him and lucky for Arsenal than to have this 1-0 in this way, as I said, even when it was, although it was well deserved, as I said. But yes, Saliba, with his defense skills, with his strength, with his physics, and also his position against the ball, but then also not to underestimate like his passes, his progressive passes, to see the space, to play into the space, makes him, for me, this very complete defender, and he was doing that quite good, in my opinion, again against Crystal Palace tonight in this quarterfinal of the League Cup. Yeah, and then, as I said, back to the chronological match review from me, it was this 1-1. It was like, free kick from the left side. But then we come to that. I think it was a foul from Saliba. So in the last minutes I think he lost one ball and then he had this foul. So he's not perfect too. Maybe one or two little mistakes from him too. You can mention that, or I want to mention that, to be fair. Also with him. And then Crystal Palace, it's very lucky for them, but it's also a good set piece. It's a good ball, it's a good header, and then Mark Gay is like completely free. Maybe Arsenal has to defend it a bit better. They can defend it a bit better, I think, when they mark Gay better, but Gay is there and he is scoring the goal. No chance for Kepa at this point. Maybe the defenders can mark him a bit better, can be a bit more close to like this opponent player with Marquet. But this is the 1-1. And then we have like the equalizing goal, and it's going into penalties. Deserved or not, this is football. And in the League Cup, we have like this penalty shootout after 90 minutes. And then we have very great penalty shootout, as I mentioned at the beginning, at the entrance of this video. 14 clear penalties from both teams, well shot. Most of the penalties well placed in the corners of the goal, also shot with good strength. Difficult for the goalkeepers, very good for the shooting, for the penalty shooting players. And but then, as I said, football is writing some stories again and again. It's Maxence Lacroix, who was very unlucky to have this own goal late in the game at the 85 minute, around this time of the match, and then he is it again who is failing to score the penalty, who is missing the penalty. And Kepa is the hero, of course, because he has the corner. He is holding it very good, because Lacroix is also placing the ball quite alright, I would say. Maybe the shot lacks a bit of strength behind it, but Kepa is in the right corner, is holding it good as well. And then we have one player which is very unlucky, Maxence Lacroix. But I think in other games he's a very solid defender, making his way under Oliver Glasner into the Premier League, because he was playing under Oliver Glasner at VfL Wolfsburg. And I think he's in other games a very solid defender, and this is what happens in football sometimes. But it's just well deserved for Arsenal, well deserved win, with the need of a penalty shootout, with Crystal Palace with a bit of luck coming in this penalty shootout, but also compliments to Crystal Palace and props to them, because you can see, especially in this first 50 minutes of the second half, that they're very good, that they can be very good in terms of also stressing the opponent team, having a high press, having good positioning against the ball, and then also when they win the ball, having good transitions, counter-attacks. They showed that, and also having good set pieces. And I think these are some of the aspects which can explain a bit, or make us football fans understand how Crystal Palace is coming to a lot of success under Oliver Glasner. And also, I give props when you are playing against, for me, maybe the best team in Europe right now, which has great players, who is playing a good match too in this evening tonight, and then holding against this great team, and just getting it to a 0-0 game, 0-0 game till the 18th minute, and then scoring a late equalizer, coming into the penalty shootout. This is something where you also can say, even if it's lucky a bit, and it's well deserved that Arsenal wins because they were the better team and they were dominating most of the time. Yeah, you can give props to that. But also congratulations on Arsenal on a well deserved win. Now the semi-final in the League Cup, they are playing great in the Champions League. They're first in the Premier League, playing a great season, doing the next step onto Mikel Arteta. And I have to say, when I see this Arsenal squad, let's see the bench. As we said, Saka was coming in, Trossard was coming in, Ødegaard was coming in, Rice was coming in, Martin Zubimendi and Victor Gyökeres played 0 minutes today. Alone, this is like very great fact for every Arsenal fan, I would say, because these are two top high-class players. Zubimendi is like becoming more and more a fixed point and a very important player also of the Spanish national squad, which means a lot when we look at his position, because he's number 6 or number 8, and there's so many good players on this position in Spain. When we look at Pedri, at Gavi, at Fabian Ruiz from PSG, at Rodri especially, of course from Manchester City, and Zubimendi is in this national team with, for sure, the most best midfielders, number 6, number 8, in all the world. When we look at Spain, there he is a very important player and making more and more appearances and playing great for Arsenal, I think, from what I have seen. So like this is something when you can leave 2 of these players from this category completely on the bench for 90 minutes and like the penalty shootout on top, as a manager, as Mikel Arteta. But yeah, also you can say it's League Cup, and was clear that like guys like Saka, like Ødegaard, like Zubimendi, like Rice, like the top players, also Gyökeres, who maybe would play from the beginning up front at the number 9 position as a striker. That you leave them on the bench, that you give them some rest, some pause, and some rest just to regenerate their powers for more important games in the Premier League or in the Champions League. But yeah, a very great squad, and I have to say, every time when I look on my football apps and I see Arsenal playing, and I look at the formation, at the first 11 and on the bench, I'm always like laughing at the end or just saying this is unbelievable, because not just the first 11, also the complete bench is like every player except maybe 1 or 2 youth players. There was like one 16-year-old today on the bench, is like top class to top international class to maybe world class players who are so good, and they're always minimum 5, more like 6 or 7 players on the bench who are like top class. Where I say, when I see all the teams right now, Bayern Munich, PSG, Manchester City, Real Madrid, okay, they have a lot of bad luck with injuries. You have to say that. Xabi Alonso and Real Madrid, a lot of bad luck with injuries. Barcelona, when I look at all these clubs, then currently Arsenal for me for sure has the best squad in total, with like first 11 and then the bench. Yeah, these are my closing words for this post-match analysis. Follow my YouTube channel. Give me a subscribe if you like this. This was like my first video on English, just like for an English football game for this League Cup quarterfinal between Arsenal London and Crystal Palace. It was a great match. It was great fun to watch this and to analyze this. Yeah, leave a like if you like this video. Leave a positive comment to support me, to support the algorithm. And I'm always happy about that. And I catch you guys in the next video. See you. Bye.